Today I am taking up the poem The Fly by William Blake. William Blake was born on 28th November 1757 and he passed away on 12th August 1827. He was an English poet, a painter, and a printmaker. During his lifetime, he was largely unrecognized. Today, he is considered to be a seminal figure in the history of the poetry and visual arts of the Romantic Age. What he called prophetic works were said by 20th century critic Northrop Frye to form what is in proportion to his merits the least read body of poetry in the English language. According to another critic, Jonathan Jones, Blake was far and away the greatest artist Britain has ever produced. In 2002, when the list of 100 great Britons was drawn up, Blake figured among the 38. He was on number 38 while he lived in London his entire life, except for 3 years. He was producing a diverse kind of literature, and it embraced the imagination as the body of God or human existence itself. Now, this particular poem, The Flies, it forms a part of Songs of Experience written by William Blake somewhere between 1789 and 1794. They were published along with Songs of Innocence with the aim of showing the two contrary states of the human soul. Two contrary states, let me remind you, refers to one is childhood, which symbolizes innocence, and the other is experienced. When you become experienced and you are mature, obviously because of the experiences you have in life. So there are two different stages, one of innocence and one's when you are experienced. Several of the poems in both sets use images from natural world to symbolize human characteristics, and The Fly is just one such poem. Now, if we look at this particular poem, it is a very short poem. It consists of 5 short-lined stanzas or quatrains with a total word count of only 69. Now, only 4 words have more than one syllable, and all these 4 words happen to appear in the first stanza itself, in the first quatrain itself, one in each line. And as we take up the poem, we will see for ourselves how this has been accomplished. Now, it has the appearance of a very simple poem, but then the meaning is very deep. The act of brushing aside a fly with a thoughtless hand inspires the writer to consider his own place in the scheme of things and to wonder whether he is as unimportant, insignificant as a fly. Now, when we take the poem, let's look at the first quatrain. Little fly, thy summer's play, my thoughtless hand has brushed away. Now, the fly gets the adjective little, so it's a small sized fly. Thy summer's play, the fly was enjoying itself, it was enjoying the summer season and playing around playfully. My thoughtless hand, his hand which was thoughtless. Now, not that the hand was thoughtless, it was that the act was thoughtless. He did not think anything about it, and he simply brushed away. The fly has brushed away, and his hand brushed away the fly. Now, brushed away, brushed, that action is not all that, it's not a very powerful action. Brushing away is just like carelessly sending something away. So the fly which was alive in the first line, little fly, thy summer's play, which was alive, it was enjoying itself, it was playing around. At the end of the quatrain, that fly is dead. His hand has brushed it away. So we find here, if we look at this quatrain, and if we look at the syllables of the words, we find that the first word little has 2 syllables, summers has 2 syllables, thoughtlessness 2 syllables, and brushed again 2 syllables. So all the other words in the first quatrain have single syllables. If we need to look at the rhyme scheme, we can see it's A, B, C, B, because play rhymes with away. So A, B, C, B is the rhyme scheme of this particular quatrain. Now, both fly and man are described as being at play, either at summer's play, or next paragraph we'll see dance, drink and sing. There is no difference between the values of the activities of man and fly. The fly is brushed aside without thought, and the man's fate will be settled also by a blind hand later on. Am not I a fly like thee? Or art not thou a man like me? The poet asks two questions. Is he not a fly like the creature he killed, the insect he killed? Or art not thou a man like me? Is the fly not a man like him? Why does he equate himself with the fly? Because he is of the belief that just as he does not know anything about fate, just as the fly did not know about its fate when it was coming, did it know that it is going to be killed by someone? No, it did not. Similarly, the poet does not know about his fate. Now, these lines remind us of Gloucester in Act 4, Scene 1 of Shakespeare's King Lear, where he says, "As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods, they kill us for their sport." So, just like we are like dragonflies, which wanton boys take up and insert something behind the tail part and leave it in the air to fly, and later on these dragonflies die. Similarly is our condition also. For gods, we are just like these dragonflies. Our importance is just as much. Now, these lines actually remind us of that. The same sense of pessimism and realization of reality is apparent in Blake's poem, in which the correspondence between man and fly as being on the same level on a cosmic scale is expressed in very simple way with these two questions. So, am not I a fly like thee? Or art not thou of man like me? Both of these are equal. Man is equal to fly, fly equal to man. The rhyme scheme again is same. It's A, B, C, B with D rhyming with the word me. Now let's look at the third quatrain. For I dance and drink and sing. The poet is able to dance, drink and sing, all activities showing happiness, just like the fly is able to dance, drink and sing. Till some blind hand shall brush my wing. And one day, just as he had done a thoughtless activity, someday a blind hand will come and brush away his wing also, just as he brushed the wing of the fly. And just brushing the wing of the fly, it was just a small act, a careless act, but that took away its life. Similarly, one day the hand of fate, the hand of God will come and brush his wing, and his end will be the same. We'll see the syllables are all single syllables in the words, and the rhyme scheme again for the third quatrain is A, B, C, B. Sing rhyming with wing. Again, let's come to the fourth quatrain. If thought is life and strength and breath, and the want of thought is death. Now it's a conditional. The quatrain begins with a conditional if. He says, if to think is to be alive, if to think is to have strength and to have breath, and the want of thought is death. Now, the want of thought here means the lack of thought. It does not mean the desire for thought. No, the lack of thought. And the lack of thought is what? It is death. Meaning, if you are able to think, you are alive. If you are not able to think, you are dead. If you rationalize upon your actions, if you think before you do, then you are alive. If you act without thinking, you are as good as dead. The fifth quatrain completes that if with a conditional, completing that condition. Then, starting with then am I a happy fly if I live or if I die. He says, if the ability to think and act means I am alive, and the inability to think and act means death, then I am what? I am as happy as a fly. Why? Because I will think in my life and act. I will think and do things so that others are not negatively impacted by my actions. Then am I a happy fly if I live or if I die. He says, regardless of whether I live or die, I shall always be happy. Why? Because I will be meditating my actions, and then I shall be performing. And also because he will not know what fate he is going to have in store for him. He will be unmindful of that, and because he will be unmindful, he will not be in tension, just like the fly did not bother that the next moment it was going to die, because it did not know what fate had in store. So similarly, because he too would not know what fate has in store, he would be happy. So he'd be happy for two reasons. One, because he would know that he has that capacity to think, he has that capacity to meditate upon his actions and then act. And secondly, he would be happy also, because he would not know what was going to happen next. He can live as long as he lives happily, and when he dies, he obviously will not be there to think about it. Now, if you have any questions based on this poem, you can leave it in the segment below, and I shall try my best to answer them. Thank you.